Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are finally taking out the tier 10 Moskva. Yes, I know I'm a little late to the party, actually not the worst. There's another tier 10 that I'm definitely going to be late to the party, but I finally made my way up the Russian cruiser line and have finally got the Moskva. And the Moskva, oh, she's a beast. Oh, good ship, fantastic ship. Hi, I really do love her. But of course, like any ship in World of Warships, she does have her flaws, and I will be talking about them. But overall, I really do like the Moskva. It's a fun ship to play. So let's quickly take a look at the stats. Survivability, you're looking at 65,400. And if we compare it to the other tier 10 cruisers, the Zhao only has around 40,800, Des Moines has around 50,600, and the Hindenburg has 51,900. I believe the Minotaur has a little bit less as well. So the Moskva, it has the most health points out of all the tier 10 cruisers. Armor ranges from 20 to 170, and probably the most notable thing is going to be her bow armor. If you bring your bow towards any battleships, for the most part you can ricochet. Of course, if it's plummeting down into your top deck, you'll still get penetrations, but for the most part your frontal bow armor does ricochet shells quite easily. Now obviously, if you show off your side armor, you will be punished quite heavily. I've had a few instances where I am bowing and then I have to try to dodge torpedoes, turn broadside to a battleship, and instantly get deleted. Russian cruisers just will not be able to handle any broadside at all, but that's the case for most cruisers anyways. Torpedo protection is 30%, which, I mean, it's not too bad. Moving on to artillery, you have 3 turrets, triple guns each with 220 millimeters, so about 17 millimeters bigger than most of the other cruisers, excluding the Minotaur. The guns are pretty fantastic. 10.4 second reload, not the quickest, but not bad. Turn time on the guns is 29 seconds. Max dispersion is 175 meters for a range of 22.6. That is extremely tight dispersion there. Max HE damage is 3,100 with a 21% fire chance. Just to give you kind of a perspective on that fire chance, the Zhao, which has been known for the fire starter, has a 23% fire chance, and it only has a range of 18.8, and its max dispersion is 145. So that's pretty good for my Moskva. And obviously I do run Demolition Expert on my Moskva, so I get that higher fire chance. Now the AP shells are fantastic. 5,800 points of damage for each citadel. That's if you get a citadel, and trust me, you will, because these shells are fairly big and they can even penetrate battleship armor. Even the Yamato, I did try the Moskva against a broadside Yamato, and up close, yeah, you can get those citadels fairly easily. Now I haven't tried it with the Des Moines, so that'd be interesting to try. Fire range, like I said, is 22.6 kilometers, and the velocity on the shells is 985 meters per second. So they are very fast traveling shells, and they go straight to target. Now your secondaries is kind of lackluster. You have 4 dual 130 millimeters. They reload for 4 seconds. Max HE damage is 1,800 with a 11% fire chance and a 8.2 kilometer range. So pretty decent, all considering, but once again, there's not that many. There's only 2 in the front, 2 in the rear, so yeah, you don't always get to use them, and they're not very beneficial. AA guns is pretty decent. You have 6 quad 25 millimeters. They have a range of 3.7 kilometers, a average damage of 50. Then you have 6 quad 45 millimeters. Average damage is 124 with a 4.2 kilometer range. And then your secondaries add additional AA. Average damage is 112 with a range of 6.8 kilometers. AA is not that bad, although I can't say I've really tested it against CVs. So, but I don't want to say it's It's all right. It's doable. It will shoot down planes, but nothing compared to obviously the Minotaur or the Des Moines can. Now, unfortunately for the Russian cruisers, once you get to the tier 10, you lose your torpedoes. So if you are in your Donskoy and you love your 8-kilometer torpedoes, enjoy them while you have them, because the Moskva does not have it. And I've had a few instances where I would have rather had those torpedoes than have bigger guns, because those torpedoes can and will save your life. Now, max speed is 34.5 knots. She's a little bit slower than the Donskoy, I think by around 1.5 to 2 knots. A little bit slower. Turning circle radius is 760 meters. Pretty big. She's a pretty big cruiser as well. Rudder shift time is 8.7 seconds, which is not terrible. It's fairly tight. Concealment, it's kind of big. Big. It is the biggest on all the cruisers, so she's very well spotted. 13.8 kilometers by sea and 9.3 by air. After you fire your main guns, you are detected out to 20.4 kilometers, so you do have a use of invisifiring, but once again, invisifiring is apparently going away, so that's not going to be very beneficial. So enjoy your ability to invisifire for this time and being. Nothing much has changed as far as my modules, as far as what the Donskoy had. Consumables are almost exact same. I think once again you can get high acoustics, but I'd rather have defensive AA. I find that a little bit more beneficial, especially if you are pitted up against the CVs. Now, carriers are getting a refit, especially with this upcoming update. I think 0.63. CVs are getting a new look, or a new look on how to play, and it will probably be making it a little bit easier, and hopefully we'll see a little bit more carriers, because without carriers it's not a full game in my thoughts, even though I hate seeing carriers sometimes. Anyway, moving on to my captain. My captain is a 19-point captain. As to why I have the camouflage, if you did not notice, that's actually the Restless Fire camouflage. My captain on my Donskoy was a 18-point captain, and I wanted to get the 19th because I needed 2 points, and the 19 point allowed me to get 2 points, and there's a very good reason why I did this. So starting off, I got preventative maintenance. It's beneficial. You can almost go for priority target, not always useful, and I really don't like anything on this tier 1 line. Nothing really jumps out to me like you must have. At least for the Russian cruisers, the priority target might be beneficial, so you know you're being targeted at. Next one is going to be expert marksman. Obviously, transverse your guns a little bit faster. Then superintendent, so you can get that additional heal. Probably when you're first starting, you probably want to go for demolition expert. 2% increase to your fire chance. Very beneficial for starting Russian cruisers. Then, obviously, concealment expert, just to reduce your detectability by a little bit, so you're not as easily detected. And so once you have spent your 4th point, you can kind of mess around with it. I went with, obviously, getting either superintendent or demolition expert, so that's 3 points. And then advanced firing training, which boosts your AA, which can be beneficial. And the last 2 points that I wanted to get was adrenaline rush. Now, obviously, I have talked about Adrenaline Rush quite a bit, and I really do enjoy it. And it makes these guns fire a lot faster very quickly. 0.2% to reload time of all types of armaments for each 1% health points lost. So it is benefit because you will be taking damage. Obviously, you're going to be spotted fairly quickly compared to other cruisers. So every time you lose health, you'll be able to fire your guns a little bit quicker. And the guns fire pretty quickly, 10.4 seconds on the reload. The Hindenburg has 8.8. Des Moines has just as fast firing guns. Zhao, I think, has actually the longest at 13.7 seconds. And even the Zhao could benefit from the Adrenaline Rush. So I really am enjoying the Adrenaline Rush. I highly recommend it, especially on your cruisers, so you will be taking damage, and it's nice being able to get your guns firing a little bit faster. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the replay. I will see you guys there with a bonus video. All right, everyone, welcome back to kind of a funny moment, I guess. Kind of funny. Anyways, I am in the Moskva, and I am on the training room server, and I spawned in a Iowa, Montana, couple of runes because I had slight issue with actually citadeling a rune with my Moskva. The rune is somewhat difficult. You actually have to land your shells kind of beneath the water, and the AP for the most part will penetrate, but most times you'll get those over penetrations. That's one issues I've had with at least penetrating rune, and there we actually get a citadel. But this is not the funny moment. The funny moment occurs with this Iowa. Now, anyone that knows any cruiser such as the Des Moines and obviously the Moskva is going to be able to penetrate a Iowa. And the Iowa really does have a major issue with her citadel, and even the Montana has issues with her citadel. And a good explanation on this armor issue and the penetration of the shells, good place to go actually learn more about it is Hakaym. He does talk about how the armor and the penetrations are really screwy because they reduce the range on the actual guns of the ships. So something you could look up, and he actually kind of talks about what they could do to fix the issue with the Iowa's belt armor and being penetrated for showing any broadside. So I'm actually going to quickly speed this up. Alright, so the moment has arrived, and we have a poor little Iowa right in front of us. And look at this angle that we're at, about 29 degrees, roughly 30 degrees right now. Just watch this. 6 citadels and 1 dead Iowa. Yeah, the Moskva is a little powerful, I will have to say. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual replay. I will see you guys there. Alright, everyone, welcome back to a replay with the Moskva, and we are on Okinawa. We have 2 Yamatos, Iowa, North Carolina, Tirpitz, Moskva, 2 Atagos, Kutuzov, Shimakaze, Fletcher, and a Ognavoy. On the enemy team, there is a Kurfürst, a Yamato, Iowa, North Carolina, Mage, Moskva, Hipper, Atago, Chapayev, Habadoshk, Yugamo, and a Lo Yang. Now, the Moskva, it really acts like an Iowa. You really do have to stay bowed in, and this is kind of something I don't like doing. I tend to be more aggressive. I try to push forward, maybe not always to the best advantage, but you really do have to keep yourself angled as much as possible and just take your time, because obviously look at the range. The range is 22.6 kilometers. That's almost as much as the Kurfürst. Actually, I think it's better than the Kurfürst. So you have the range. You just need to take it slow, and this really is what the Moskva requires to play very well. So I am in the middle of the map. I do have, I believe, a Yamato actually behind me. I am detected, so I go ahead and open up a salvo of HE and shots off. Well, it's looking pretty nice. We got a fire, very first shell hit, very nice. And I'm guessing this Kurfürst is probably going to let it burn. He opens up a salvo, I believe, against me. We get another fire on him. Switch my attention to the Habadosh. I have the Yamato actually coming in behind me. It looks like the Kurfürst was aiming at the Yamato, and he's letting those 2 fires just burn. And we're already sitting almost at 20,000 points of damage just within the first couple minutes, which is pretty nice considering it was just solely fire damage. Now we do see the enemy Moskva on the left, and just have to be careful of your positioning, because if any cruiser or battleship gets around you and takes advantage of your soft side, you will be punished. I've had instances where, you know, I'm doing really well, keeping myself angled, and I have to turn because torpedoes, and then showing off broadside, and you get instantly deleted. Yes, the Moskva has terrible armor, and it looks like the Lo Yang's actually detected. He's well within our radar. Now, my captain obviously does have the adrenaline rush on him. So if we do get more damage, our guns will fire faster and faster, and this is going to be very devastating to anyone. I do pop hydroacoustics against this Lo Yang. He is trying to get away in his smoke, but I really don't think he's going to get very far. Firing HE, sitting at about 1,000 points of health. Can we finish off this Lo Yang? I think we might be able to. Yep, there he goes. The Ognivoid does take him out. And me and the friendly Yamato are just kind of playing it somewhat passively. And I really hate to say it, but sometimes you have to play it like this, especially with the Moskva. The Moskva, you can tank battleship armor shells because of your bow. So do use that to your advantage. It's, like I said, it's very similar to how the Iowa works. Obviously, if a Yamato fires at you, might be able to penetrate your armor, but might ricochet as well. I do switch over to armor piercing, firing at this broadside Amagi, and the shells are fairly big for a cruiser, and not bad. Probably not the best. If you're a little bit closer and the angle wasn't as sharp for the shells, we might be able to do more penetration damage. Now, as you saw previously, I was actually testing out how well you can penetrate side armor of battleships with your armor piercings, and if you are close enough, just like with the I-1 Montana, you can actually penetrate a Yamato and Curvers. Well, you can't really penetrate a Curvers, but you can do pretty good damage against the Curvers. Now, going back to the battle, we see a Yukimo. He has dropped torpedoes against the Atago, and unfortunately the Atago captain does go down. And we see that the Kurfürst is actually sitting kind of behind this island. He's taking quite a significant amount of health or damage from, I believe, pretty much everyone. Everyone was focusing him down early in the battle. He's probably actually taking quite a few torpedoes. The Iowa just took a massive hit, probably from the friendly Yamato. And so my attention switched over to him to see if I can bring him down. We do get a fire on him, which is nice, but the Kurfürst actually pushes out. And fortunately, he does not focus on me. He's sitting at about 24,000 points of health. Opened up a salvo of high explosives, switched over to armor piercing because, well, he came out broadside. And unfortunately, he was able to get turned in, but we still get about 2,000 points of damage. Now, let's see how good the high explosive on the Moskva is pretty fantastic. If you could not tell, we've already got a fire on him. He is trying to heal, but he is just in a terrible position. His secondaries are hammering away on me. They have lit me a flame right now, and I am taking a little bit of damage, but that's alright. I can always heal this up. It's fire damage, so fire damage is 100%, and the Kurfürst does go down to the friendly Tirpitz captain, so that is very good. That's one less tier 10 battleship we do have to worry about. Now, during this whole staying angled, our team has captured A, the enemy team has captured C, and we have a friendly Shimikaze who is just sitting over in that island. He's actually finally moving into B. Don't actually know why he was sitting that way. Now, normally I would totally yell at anyone that plays a sniping game, and it looks like, although all our battleships were actually sitting back behind me, we do have two over there, the North Carolina and the Yamato. We have Yamato and Tirpitz on our side. Although we've had a majority of the battleships back behind me, we were still able to kind of corral the enemy ships into this little corner, and it's a horrible position to be in. They really need to push to even get out of there, but they have just lost their Iowa. All that's left on the enemy team is the Yamato, Chapaya, Moskva, Habadosh, and the Yamagi. So they have to do something real quick. We've only lost one ship to their two, or their 5. I can count, apparently. So my attention has switched over to this Moskva. This Moskva is showing a huge broadside even at this distance. you can be punished quite easily, as I just earned a citadel on this Moskva, and that's probably a good example of why you always need to be aware of where your broadside is facing. Now I have pushed forward with our battleships. Obviously, the enemy team are all huddled back in that southern corner, and my attention does switch over to the Haberdash. The Haberdash can be a major issue, and he probably needs to die real soon. And this Haberdash captain is actually has something interesting. You'll see and understand what I'm talking about in a little bit. So my attention is directly on this Haberdash, and the Haberdash is a quick ship, but we have knocked out his engine, and he is burning, he is losing health, and it looks like everyone's just focusing on him. And you would think at this time that he may have popped smoke to actually get away. He's sitting at 584 points of health, and so my attention switches over to the Moskva, and this is kind of a mistake because the Haberdash is not dead. He's sitting at 179 points of health. And so I switch back over my attention once more, just so we can get rid of him. But it looks like we do have the Moskva and the Atago pushing back up, trying to make a push. But once again, that Moskva is showing me a lot of broadside, and that it can be very devastating for Moskva. We've already done 2 citadels on him. Can we actually earn this kill? That would be fantastic. It looks like we lost to our Shemkaze, did 3 citadels on him, and 4 equals 1 dead Moskva. And the enemy team has lost their Hipper as well, and my attention switches over to the Chapayev. And even at this distance, these Russian cruisers, oh good lord, made of paper, earn a citadel on that Chapayev. Now remember, the Haberdash actually got away, and obviously I pointed out something that is somewhat significant because of the recent changes to the Russian destroyer line, is they have a different ability that they can use, a different consumable they can actually run instead of using the smoke. This Haberdash captain actually opted out the smoke for the heal ability. Now I did kind of steal that kill. Just 1 shell actually landed. Now the Haberdash is alive and well. He has repaired and gained about 2,000, almost 3,000 points of health, which is actually very good. He's being focused on by the enemy, or by the friendly Iowa. And this Iowa is trying his very best. The Haberdash is just doing all he can, but there's really not much he can do. Shells away. Who's gonna get the kill? So our team earned a victory. We brought home 359,134 silver, 5,859 XP, and 293 free XP. We did 123,036 points of damage, 98 shell hits, 8 incapacitation, 3 kills, 7 fires, 7 citadels, and 3 secondary hits. We earned top of the team with a base XP of 1,905. We took out the enemy Moskva Haberdash and the enemy Yamato, even though we kind of stole the kill. Granted, it was securing a kill. Yes. Oh yes. So fire damage was around 25,649. Our high explosive did around 38,494 points of damage, and our armor piercing did around 58,893. So the armor piercing is pretty fantastic. I really do enjoy the Moskva's AP. It's very potent. So after everything was said and done, we brought home 160,950 silver, and I really am enjoying the Moskva. You really do feel powerful. You feel like you're a big, heavy tank, although you can't really show that broadside, but a lot of cruisers can't show broadsides without being citadeled to death. So, but with the bow armor the way it is, you can really tank the armor piercing from battleships. Now high explosive obviously does not ricochet, so not always beneficial against that, but overall, the Moskva is a really tanky ship, and it has very powerful guns for a cruiser. So this is actually going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jen.